Hello, everyone. My name is Lenny Iger, and I am finally making my pen tuning video, and I'm excited. Like many of you, I am a avid fountain pen collector. I have many, many pens. Every pen that I have writes exactly the way I like it. I have tuned almost every single one of them. I happen to like my pens to write perfect flow. I like a fairly broad nib, a wet, juicy writer that's very smooth. If you like your pens with feedback, we can talk about how to do that. If you like it a very thin line, these techniques will work as well. But what I'm going for and this set of techniques, specifically not grinding, I'm not cutting the nib. This is about getting the nib to work the way you want it to, not changing the shape. We're going to leave that to the nibmeisters. There are three techniques involved in doing this, and they do go in order. The first one is adjusting the flow. What this means is that we're going to set the width of the tines to get the right amount of flow coming out of the pen when we write. There are a lot of people that have problems with hard starts and skipping, and this is basically what the problem is. The next step in tuning is to align the tines. If the two sides of the tines or the two tines are out of alignment so that they look like this instead of like this at the tip, what happens is the one that's down drags across the paper and gives us the effect that we call scratch. The third and final step is dealing with feedback. Now, we all like a different amount of feedback. We use lapping sheets to polish the tip. It turns out that feedback is caused by micro scratches on the tip, and these are very easy to polish out. I have a method that is much safer than the standard method that most people use. Let me show you a few examples of some of the pens that I have that I've laid out here in this box here. I'm just going to pick up a few things. This here is a Namiki Aya. It comes with a number 30 nib. This is one of the best nibs made, period. There's no question about it. It's just perfect as far as I'm concerned. And you'll have to excuse me because my handwriting is a little wobbly. I'm not perfect at this. I wish I could do those perfect S things here, but you get what you get. And basically that's one. And now I'll pull out this one. This is an interesting pen. This is a collaboration between Chatterley from chatterleyluxuries.com. The barrel was cut by someone named Torelli. It was put together by Sean Newton of Newton Pens, and it has a Mont Blanc 149 nib, another one of the famous nibs of all time. And this is really a beautifully smooth writing nib. I'll pull out something that another of the absolutely most famous best nibs on the planet. Here's a Sailor Sakura Nagare. This is a King of Pen nib. And look at how beautifully this writes. Okay. We're at the first step, and that is setting the flow. Let's talk about why the flow is not set properly in the first place. When it starts out as a flat piece of metal and then whack, it goes into a stamping machine and gets its curve. Then it gets a tipping welded on, which is a super high energy process. And then a slit is cut. It's cut with a little baby circular saw. Now, a lot of us think that if we don't get the right flow when we purchase the pen, that somehow the manufacturer hasn't done their quality control. But it's more likely that they've done quality control and it has perfect flow before it leaves the factory. And that over time, given the stress that this metal has been placed under by the manufacturing process, that the two tines come back together to where the tips actually touch. So setting the flow is a matter of just bringing the tips apart to where the slit is parallel. I'm going to start out with a Benu. I haven't inked this up, but what I'm going to do is use something that I have come up with. There are two or three ways to widen your tines, and that's what we're talking about here, widening the tines. You can press down on a hard surface. That's somewhat useful. It's a little dangerous. You can bend a nib if you don't know the right pressure to do it. You can grab the nib by its shoulders here with your fingers and pull apart. Not a bad technique, but it's a little touch and go and it's very easy to overdo it. The next technique is using a feeler gauge. And these are feeler gauges. They often come in a fan of many different sizes. I only use two sizes, so I prefer these guys. This one is set to 4 thousandths. This one's at 6, which is wider than you want it. But you will see that if we use this feeler gauge, it will come back to the right size. And the thing that's fabulous about this is that once you get the right size for you, you'll be able to set it to the kind of flow that you want every time. This is very consistent. This is just a piece of metal. It's a piece of steel essentially. You want to hold your pen securely. You want to do this with common sense. You don't want to push and shove things. You want to, I'm going to switch to the other camera here. You want to slide this right into the breather hole at the bottom here. You want to push it through. Okay. And notice that I am doing this very straight. If you do this where the feeler gauge goes into the slit at an angle, you will widen it too much. This is the thinner one. This one works really well for fine. This is a steel nib, but if you have a gold nib, this is steel up against gold. If you slide off it, steel is going to scratch gold. Now I'm going to move to the next size up because this is a medium. I've tapered it so that the feeler gauge slides into the slit very easily. Now this is giving me a little bit of resistance. So I'm just going to move it a little bit here. Once again, very, very carefully, very, very straight. I'm not pushing hard. I'm being delicate. There's a lot of what we do where we take a lot of delicate care. There are times when I'm tuning a nib where I'm not getting it. I don't quite understand what's going on. And what I do is I set it down and I come back the next day and then it's obvious. Okay. So I also noticed that I left it in for a while. I don't recommend you leave it in for half an hour, but you can leave it in for a couple of minutes there and it will do what it does on the nib. This has been the most efficient thing that I've been able to come up with. These work like a charm. Everybody that I've given these to has absolutely loved it. So that's the first part, which is setting the flow. Once again, we do that first. These guys here are brass flossing sheets, and I have cut them out of a very large roll, and I have cut them to this size, and then I've cut the edges off to 45 degrees. And anytime you're using a shimmer ink, anytime you're using any pen whatsoever, it doesn't immediately start, just pull this out and go once through the breather hole, and you're good to go. Unfortunately, you can't buy these at a pen store. These are only available so far on Amazon and at my site called penlover.net. This one is 3 thousandths. This one is 4 thousandths. So I use the 3 thousandths for smaller nibs, fine, extra fine, etc. And I use the 4 thousandths for the medium and broads. And it's really not about widening the tines. It's really about just clearing the slit and restarting the capillary action. I will put a link at the end of the video here because I do sell a tuning kit And the tuning kit comes with these two sizes of feeler gauge. It also comes with one each of these guys for you to start with. And it also comes with a loop. And this loop is 20x loop, which allows you to actually really see what is going on the nib and look at the shape of it and look at the bottom and is it a perfect sphere or is it or perfectly round as it were or is it a little cut off on the edges, etc. You can really study the nib and actually make this work for you. The other thing that's nice is that this is illuminated and helps a great deal in seeing things that are up close, and it's rechargeable, USB rechargeable, so you're not messing with batteries. Finally, I also include two lapping sheets. This lapping sheet is a green 14,000 grit one, and also known as 1 micron. And this is a white 60,000 grit one. This is the one, this is the magic that will make your pens write like butter. 60,000 grit or 0.3 microns, you can polish your nib on here for 10 minutes and it's not going to hurt it. It's really excellent. So I will show you more about how to use that in a bit. I don't recommend micromesh. Micromesh tops out at 12,000 grit, which is 12,000 grit and 14,000 grit are pretty much the same, but they also come with a lot of smaller, coarser grits like 2,000 and 2,400 and whatnot. And a lot of people have worked on that for longer than they should have, which is like longer than 10 seconds, and they've just ground the tip right off. So you start off with a medium, next thing you know, like, oh my God, I have a stub. And I consider it very dangerous, not useful for beginners. I start out with the green here. I'm working only about a minute, 60 seconds on the green. And then I move to the white and we're going to do 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm going to show you how this is done. Okay, I'm going to put my loop on and I'm going to show you how we diagnose a nib for scratch. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pick up this baby here. This is a lovely Pelican Blue Planet. That is one of my favorite pens, and M1000. And I'm moving up the paper here so that you can see it easily. And what I'm going to do is we're going to diagnose, do we have scratch? We go like this, left to right, right to left. It's the same as in no scratch. Then we go up at the 45, down, down, up, up. This pen has been tuned by me. With all the pens I've had, only two have not needed tuning. One of them was the Namiki Aya, and the other one was this one, the Visconti Galileo. Let's take a look at this. And even with this without ink, I'm just feeling on the paper and I can feel it's not too bad, but I have some scratch here, just a little bit. Let's look at this one. That that was the Banu. This is a narwhal, beautiful Voyager Spring. Not too bad. A little bit of drag. Here's a also beautiful narwhal, Voyager Macaw. And this one, I can feel that going here to here doesn't feel, you can probably hear it. Up and down, this has some problems. Okay. I have not tuned this one. I've never put ink in it, but what we're going to do is talk about how to actually fix this. Okay. The first thing that we want to do is figure out what the tines look like. The important thing here is that when I write like this, like most of you. I try not to write like this, but the angle of my writing is 46 degrees, so almost exactly 45 degrees. I'm somehow lucky that way. When we're doing this, We want to take this angle and we want to look at the nib at the angle that it's touching the paper. A lot of people make an error here. They look at the pen straight on, like so, or they look at it this way. Now, it is useful to look at it this way. It's important to see that the feed is centered here on the back of the nib. A lot of feeds are curved, and it can actually make one of the tines go up or down. I'm going to look with my loop to see if this one is good. And all you do is you just grab the nib and move it. Usually they're loose enough so that you can do that. Once you're secure that it's on the nib, then you want to angle it back like this so it's pointing at you at 45 degrees. So when I use my loop, and I'm going to go to the other camera here so that you can see this, I'm going to turn on the light. I'm going to look at the pen from this angle. It's almost as if my pen is writing on the glass lens of the loop. I'm doing this at 45 degrees, not like I'm showing you sideways. I'm actually going to look forward, but the angle of my pen is not straight like so. It's not vertical like so, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with studying the shape of your nib, but this is not going to help you. This is what's going to help you. Analyzing it like this. And I usually come in here like this. I put the loop right up to my eye or right on my glasses if I'm wearing my glasses, and I tap and touch the tip to the glass, and then I back off until it's in focus. And then I make sure I'm at 45 degrees. And I can see that there's a little bit, the left side is higher. So what do? Well, we have these special tools called fingernails, right? And all we do is we push down on this a little bit and check again, right? And the bottom, the two sides of the bottom should look like this. This is not to scale, of course, but the the bottoms should match. If one of them is like this and the other one is like this, you are going to have a scratch problem right there. So there is one other thing that I want to mention, and that is one of the things that's required here is patience. You must not get frustrated. What you do is you press down on the one that's too high rather than pressing up on the one that's too low, unless it's really out of whack. What you don't want to do is overshoot. And a lot of times I have to do this and then I do it again, and then I do it again, and then I do it again. I'm doing like 6 times because I press it down and it pops right back to where it was. Just be patient. Maybe the seventh time will be the charm. And you come back, and this is now going to write perfectly, or at least as perfect as this nib is going to write. It took very little for me to get this perfect. Oh, that's perfect. That is really great. It's gonna, it's, it has some feedback, but it's perfect. The same exact amount going back and forth. The final step is to polish the tip. We get out our lapping sheets and off we go with smoothing this nib. This is very, very simple, as simple as it gets. Can you do that? I think everyone can do this. I think this process is both safe when using common sense and very simple. So what I'm doing here, I'm going left to right, okay, and up and down on the 45 degree, and then up and down at 90 degrees. Okay, and this is how I'm feeling the nib. I'm feeling it. right? I'm making sure that I'm tuning it for 45 degrees. I'm not tuning it for this. If I was helping someone who held it like this, we would be tuning it this angle. But I'm tuning it my writing angle. And then we do the proverbial figure eights that everyone talks about. Okay. There's one more thing that that is helpful, and that is that a lot of beginners and some of them experts as well end up when they write rotating the pen, okay, and you end up writing on the edge of the nib, and this is pretty scratchy, right, if I write on the edge of the nib, whereas if I write like that you can hardly hear it. What we can do is we can polish the edge a little bit, and a lot of people do this rocking action, right, and just you can see I'm rotating the pen as I'm going back and forth. And the thing about working with something as smooth as this is that you can really feel it in your fingers. Maybe not the first time you do it, but as you learn to do this more and more, you can actually feel where it's just a tiny bit scratchy. And I don't know, I think that's about a minute or so. And figure eights. Some people like writing the alphabet because that's, after all, what you're going to be doing. But I find no rhyme or reason in doing this one way or the other. Some people go, oh, only do vertical, but uh, that's not how we write. So I'm kind of done here on this one. And I check here and ooh la la, is that smooth? That is really nice and super smooth. Now it's time for the white one. We're now at 60,000 grit, and this is hardly going to cut it all. This is not going to, like I said, you could do this for many, many minutes. I recommend 2 to 3 minutes on the white lapping sheet, zero point 0.3 microns, 60,000 grit. This is what makes pens write like butter, which is the way I like it. Not everybody likes that, but if you want buttery smooth, this is how you do it. Okay. And I can feel it already getting there. I'm polishing to a beautiful gloss. Okay. Let's see where we go. I'm going to floss it because anything that came into the nib slit, here we go. Once through the slit, and this is like perfection. Okay. And that, my friends, is how you tune.